Hey man, what's going on? NBA Nation, Sports Nation, Cam, the Sports Guy Nation. You feel me? We got the NBA Finals starting tomorrow. Y'all already know at the recording of this video is on Tuesday, and I plan on actually having the video out on Tuesday. So let's just go ahead and get right to it. Y'all already know, man, I'm smiling because the hate watch, well, part one of the hate watch was successful for the San Antonio Spurs as, hey man, they finally knocked off the OKC Thunder. The OKC Thunder had this coming to them for a long time. I mean, like I said, unethical basketball can only go so far. Y'all check out my short on that I made yesterday celebrating that. If y'all was really, if you guys have subscribed, and if not, it's not too late to subscribe to your boy so you can go back and watch them. You know what I'm saying? But during that Western Conference Finals, I was covering the whole series with that hate watch. You know what I'm saying? I stayed low key when we tied it 3-3, because when we went down 3-2, I literally made a short and said, hey, let's not give up on our Spurs. Well, they not my Spurs. Y'all know I'm a Celtics fan through and through. But I said, let's not give up on our hate watch. You know what I'm saying? The Spurs gonna come through and they gonna get it done. And what did they do? The Spurs came through and they got it done. And if you guys follow me on TikTok, y'all already know what I was saying the whole way through, before, during, and after the series. Wimby, save us. And so that's what I'm saying going into this NBA Finals, man, because y'all already know. I just told y'all, if you didn't know already, I'm a Celtics fan. So you already know, with that information, you already know who I'm going for and who I'm pulling for in this NBA Finals. But, that's the Spurs side of things. I can't be too biased. We got to talk about the Knicks side of things. The Knicks going on their side of things, I ain't gonna be too biased. The Knicks, they've been out there killing teams. I'm not gonna lie to you. They've been beating up on teams. Now, granted, they did get to the finals in the Celtics gap year. Yeah, I said it, the Celtics gap year. But nonetheless, they actually have made the finals for the first time since 1999. And ironically, they're playing their same opponents that they played in 1999 when they lost in 5 games to the San Antonio Spurs. The Knicks, they've had a crazy run. I mean, outside of that series, they literally haven't lost a game since the Hawks series. And that was a month ago. And that's actually crazy to say in the playoffs, that a team has not lost a game in a month, calendar month, in the playoffs. That's actually kind of unheard of. So you got to give credit where credit is due in that aspect. They've went out there and they've taken care of business. I knew when the 76ers did all that they did to try to beat us, just to come back 3-1. I already knew they were going to be cooked against the Knicks. I did not think they were going to get swept. I know for a fact we wouldn't have gotten swept. I know we wouldn't have beat the Knicks this year, but we for sure wouldn't have gotten swept. But that's what the 76ers get, trying to do that, knowing that they couldn't compete. And then not only that, in the Eastern Conference Finals, when the Cavs and Pistons were tearing themselves apart and beating down each other, the Cavs, they actually came away and had a great lead in game one. Y'all already know how that went, though. They lost the lead and ended up losing 3 straight games after that to get swept. I also don't believe the Pistons would have gotten swept either. But nonetheless, the Knicks were, it pains me to say it, but they were the best team in the East this year. I mean, granted, coming into the season, they did have finals expectations, and they achieved those expectations. So you cannot get mad at that. But this is going to be a really, really good series, in my opinion. When you look at, the Spurs, they have a lot of depth. The starting lineup is really good. You got guys like Victor Wembanyama, Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper comes off the bench, but you got De'Aaron Fox. You got guys that can really go out there and give you a bucket. Devin Vassell, who comes off the bench, he's been an X factor. Dylan Harper, he's been an X factor. The Spurs have some guys that can put the ball in the basket. They got the sixth man of the year, Keldon Johnson, who, even though he disappeared for 6.5 games in that series, he hit some very, very big shots in game 7 for the San Antonio Spurs. And yeah, and then you got some veteran presence. You got Luke Cornett, blocked by Cornett. Yeah, hey, bro, I had to throw that in there. Also, Luke being a former Celtic, had to show love. The Spurs, They have what it takes to win this title. I mean, they definitely have all the pieces. You got a superstar in Wemby who that's the best superstar that you can have. You know, even though this is his first playoff appearance, that is the best superstar that you can have. Just going off his will to win and with how this Spurs team is compiled, they definitely has what it takes. But the Knicks they also have what it takes. You know what I'm saying? They have Cat who has transitioned into a solid defender who has, upped his playmaking style, and he's able to take some of that pressure off Jalen Brunson. And then of course you have Jalen Brunson himself, who they call him captain. Hey, Jalen Brunson, he really be flopping like Shea too, but I ain't even finna get into that. But Jalen Brunson, he's a really good player, and he's gotten this Knicks team to a place that they haven't been to in over 20 years. So I already know Knicks fans hold him in high regard regardless of what happens in this series. But if Jalen Brunson can deliver this team, somehow deliver them a championship, he's definitely going to be in those crazy conversations, for best Nick all time. But hey, man. And then you got guys like OG Anunoby and Josh Hart. They are really the big X factors in this series for me. Just simply because, OG, he's been the X factor for this team ever since he's gotten there, to be honest. I mean, OG in the beginning of this postseason, he was going absolutely crazy in that Hawks series with his shooting splits. Even in the 76ers series before he hurt his hamstring, he was shooting on crazy shooting splits. Had the most points, second most points on the team average. He was averaging like 23 points, shooting like 50%. He was shooting some crazy field goal percentages. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, the hamstring injury slowed him down, and he has a history of hamstring injuries. But, with him having rest in that Sixer series when they didn't need him to come back to complete the sweep, and then he didn't really have to exert that much energy because the Cavs series was easy breezy too. With the rest that they just got from beating the Cavs, they had they had about 9 days off. So he's going to be refreshed, and they're going to need all that rest that they got. You know what I'm saying? The Knicks are going to need that going into this crazy matchup with the Spurs. That being said, I don't think the rust versus rest thing will play too much of a factor because the Spurs are a really, really young team. And I just feel like they got that hunger to go out there and get it done. Like, I just feel like that's what they do. They have what it takes to go out there and get it done. If you can beat the Thunder, you can go out there and beat anybody. This is a rematch of the NBA Cup. Obviously, I feel like the Spurs have that in their mind. I think Dylan Harper, or Vassell said it. No, Stephon Castle said it to Dylan Harper. Like, we got to get that get back from that NBA Cup. So this team hungry. Like, they like that. You know what I'm saying? And so when it comes to my prediction, man, if y'all seen my short yesterday, I already told y'all how I was gonna pick. I'm picking the Spurs in 6, man. You know what I'm saying? I really feel like, bias aside, the Knicks don't have enough weapons that the Spurs do. I mentioned the Spurs depth. They have a lot of guys that can go out there and give you buckets on any given day. You know what I'm saying? Julian Champagnie had a really, really big game 7 against the OKC Thunder. So I really like this. It's stuff like that that really makes you think like, and he also earlier in the season or in recent history in the last 2 seasons, he had like 36 on the Knicks. Cause he went crazy from the 3-point line, had like 11 threes. So I'm gonna go with the Spurs. They have too many guys that, like I said, that they can put the ball in the basket and they can also defend as well. The Knicks, they've had a good run, but they are not going. This is going to be by far the biggest and toughest matchup that they've had all playoffs. The only challenge they really had was a 35, however old CJ McCollum is. That was their biggest challenge this whole entire postseason when it comes to, offenses and like the main score. And that's definitely, that's a cakewalk compared to, guarding Victor Wembanyama and Stephon Castle and those guys. So I'm going to take the Spurs in this one. Is this the start of a new dynasty? I don't know. I hope not, because my boy JT and JB still got to get theirs. But, I need the hate watch was complete in OKC. Now we taking the hate watch to New York. And Spurs go out there and win it all. But as always, y'all let me know what y'all think below. Y'all have a blessed one. And I'll see y'all in the next one.